Welcome to the Ashley Lay Real Estate Podcast. Today, Ashley is joined by listing specialist Amy Everhart to discuss 7 reasons why you should hire a real estate agent to sell your home. If you like what you hear and find it valuable, hit that like button and smash that bell so you can be notified of our next episode. Oh, and subscribing to this podcast would be great as well. Here is Season 2, Episode 2 of the Ashley Lay Real Estate Podcast.
Hi guys, we're excited you tuned in and joined us for episode 2 of season 2 of our podcast, right? I think I got that right. Well, today I've got something that's really important to me and with Amy here to talk to you about. Amy is Amy Everhart. She is our listing specialist, one of our 2 listing specialists on our team. She works with dozens and dozens of sellers every year, so she's very well versed on this topic as well. And it's something that's kind of near and dear to our hearts because we're living in an environment of FSBOs, right, Amy?
Correct.
We are. So it's when you are in an extreme seller's market, a lot of people see that as an opportunity to sell the home themselves and get a certain amount of money. But there's several reasons they should not. So basically, this podcast is entitled 7 Reasons Why You Should Sell Your Home with a Realtor. And you're going, oh, well, that's awfully self-serving, Ashley. But really and truly, we are professionals. Just like you wouldn't decide to hire, your neighbor or your husband to do your brain surgery, you really shouldn't take on selling your home by yourself. Because there's so many ways that you can sell yourself short, get into trouble legally, just have a lot of issues, cause yourself emotional distress if you choose to go that route. So let's talk about that a little bit, right, Amy?
Right.
So what's maybe the first thing we should talk about?
Well, let's talk about that legal stuff. You just said the legal. What about the legal stuff makes sense for you to hire a professional? So number 1, there are certain things when you're selling your home that you must disclose to that buyer. And then there are other things that you do not have to disclose to them. How do you know the difference? How do you know what that buyer needs to know about your home and what they don't need to know about your home? So that's a good point. We know those.
Yeah.
We know how to.
And there are several forms, and we have to think through: does it need this form or does it need that form? Does it need the MOG? Does it need the professional services? What all does it need? And,
right.
And we're experts on that. We can help you walk you through that. You also you just are protecting yourself by hiring that real estate agent because we are licensed and we know all of the ins and outs of what does need to be disclosed, what is allowed, what's not allowed, what form do you need, and all of that kind of thing. You also, a lot of people don't think about if they sell their home by owner, you're still going to have to hire an attorney to get into the process and do all the legal paperwork for you.
And
they're very pricey.
And you're still probably going to be asked to pay the buyer agent.
Yeah.
And not only that, we have attorney drafted legal forms that protect your rights.
Right. And that's the other thing I think a lot of people don't take into consideration is that, we may be jumping ahead, but that home, even if you put it out there on some of the larger home sites like Trulia and Zillow, et cetera, put them out yourself. The agents and their buyers are going to see them, and they're going to come knocking on your door, and more likely than not, you're going to pay 3% to someone, and you're going to allow them to be represented by a professional negotiator. I think that's our number 3. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's save that and talk about that in a minute.
You're paying them to represent the person you're negotiating against. And the attorney that they hire.
Yeah. To do all the paperwork.
Yeah.
So you're totally not represented. So that's back to the legal stuff. You have no representation. So, number 2 is realtors are experts in what makes a home sale. What does that mean, Amy?
So, for instance, if you're trying to sell your home on your own, we always think the worst. Take, for instance, going about. You have that one extra thing, that one next step that you want to do to yourself to get yourself ready, to get yourself presentable. And you feel the same way about your home. When is it enough? Where do you stop getting the home prepared to be shown to buyers? And we're experts at knowing where to place that value, where to place those funds, where to place that energy and time so that you get the most out of that home.
Yeah. And what you may not recognize, and we see it all the time, is your home is your home. It is where you've made memories with your family. It's where you brought your firstborn home. It's where they took their first steps. It's where they had their first day of school. It's where your husband carried you across the front door when you were newlyweds. I mean, it is the place where your memories and a long part of your journey has been made. And you are emotionally attached to that place. As such, you're often not able to adequately price your own home. You think it's worth more than it is. And here's a great example. Kevin and I downsized and sold the home we raised our kids in 2017. I didn't price my own home. I hired my coworker, who also runs a large team here in Winston-Salem. I had him come over and tell me what my home was worth. And I've sold thousands of homes, but I wanted his opinion because, as she said, we had done a lot of updating, a lot of making it, look great to sell, getting ready. And I was just like, wow, this is, let me back up. My husband was like, wow, it's worth this much. And me, who's always conservative in, I'd rather have a little lower and have a lot more people come see it, was saying, we really shouldn't list it over this. And then Blake came in and said, no, list it here. And it was in between where Kevin and I thought. And it sold to the first people that looked at it for a great price. But it's so important to have that professional give you their professional opinion, right?
And back to what you said, all these memories that she mentioned earlier, they are time-stamped throughout your home. There are pictures, there are trinkets, there are things that may prevent a buyer from seeing themselves in your home.
Yeah, they see your family. They're not seeing it as their home. And that's what we help you with, is we guide you through. When these guys come in, once you've signed an agreement to work with us, they're going to work with you to depersonalize and declutter that home and make it to where it's inviting to everyone. They may ask you to put agreeable gray on your walls, and that's all about it becoming neutralized so that more people are going to like your home. And a lot of you are going to go, we don't have to do any of that in this market because there's no homes for sale. Well, back to shooting yourself in the foot on price. It may be that you pay a painter $2,000 to paint your whole home, and we can get $20,000 more for your house. That's not unheard of. It's that crazy out there, because we're talking about, you put your house on Zillow, one person walks in and says, I'll take it, and I'll give you $5,000 under, and you go, oh good, my house is sold, I'm out of this. We list it, and we're going to talk about that in the next couple things. We list it and bring you a pile of offers, and you're getting significantly over asking. It's paying for that buyer's agent, it's paying for our commission, and it's giving you a profit over asking. So we'll get into that in a few minutes.
You just mentioned, oh good, we're under contract, we're out of it. And I may be skipping ahead with this comment too, but you are so not out of it at that point. Your negotiation, your transaction is just beginning.
That's when it gets difficult. That's when it can start to get messy. And back to being the experts, number 2, realtors are the experts in what makes a home sale. As part of being the experts, it's having that transaction coordination. We have a full-time person doing transaction coordination. Amy is going to represent and list your property. She has an assistant that's going to do all the paperwork, going to make all the phone calls, going to make sure all the inspections are done, going to let Amy know when it's time to negotiate those inspection reports, going to set up the attorney, going to set up any other kind of inspections she might have. All of that has to be done, and most people don't have a clue what that means.
Right. But that allows me to focus on you and my conversations with you and staying honed in on what exactly do you need from me and what's going to make this a smoother transaction for you.
Yeah. And that brings us right into number 3, is negotiations take skill. They absolutely take skill. So the first point here is real estate agents have skills, and they're trained to work on it, in it. We do it every day.
It's our full-time job.
It's our full-time job. Back to, you're not going to go see, I don't know, what's a great example with the doctor? If you have brain cancer, you're not going to ask your family doctor to operate on you. If you're selling your home, why would you hire, and even, I'm going to say it like this, why would you hire a brand new agent and you've got a home, this is your 3rd home, you've invested so much, hire someone with the experience, hire a professional team with the experience, decades of experience, to get you the most money in the least amount of time and give you the best advice to get that home sold. Don't sell yourself short. You deserve that. Our listing specialists are specifically trained on a lot of things, and one of those things is back to what we mentioned earlier, getting the most money for their home in multiple offers, right? So tell them about our process and how, when we list, what we do and how we get them those multiple offers.
So our marketing associate, Jeff, that's another associate we have working absolutely full time, just marketing your home to wherever it needs to be marketing, whether we're paying for Facebook, Instagram,
paid ads.
Paid ads. And we send these ads sometimes to Charlotte, to California, to New York. I mean, we do this to whatever demographic we feel is going to get you the most for your home and the right buyer to see it. But we list homes. We have everything prepared in advance, and we review the homes with you. We review all the information on Tuesday. We list on Wednesday, depending on what time we have the acceptance from you and depending on what time we can get that posted. Now, by doing it on Wednesday, that allows our marketing specialist to do those paid ads. He has 48 hours before the first opportunity for an open house that Saturday to get this out on the market and have the most potential buyers see it. So either on a Saturday or Sunday, depending on when it's most advantageous and what's going on socially. Of course, for the Super Bowl, we did on Saturday, so that Sunday we weren't worried about,
people coming to open houses.
Yeah. So normally it's on Sunday from 2 to 4, and we place one of our buyer agents in the home to do the open house.
And they are specialists with buyers.
Yes.
That's a lot of people don't understand. They're like, Amy, why aren't you in our house, right?
Because I represent you.
Right.
And I don't want to have a conversation with a potential buyer and disclose anything that would give them an advantage. And I don't want to have an unfair advantage over that buyer. I want the negotiation to be fair. And if I have that information, I can't say I won't use it.
Right. Well, we can't. So it's, and that's what's so cool though is, think about it. I like to explain it like this. When we list on Wednesday, and Jeff runs a ton of ads, and he pushes, it's like a funnel. It's pushing all that traffic to your open house on, let's say, Sunday. And then Sunday, the floodgates open, and at 2 o'clock, our agent's been there for a little while. They've got the lights on, the doors open, everybody's ready. People are flooding through your house, except in COVID. Sometimes we're limiting how many can come in at once. But then you've got people waiting in their cars everywhere, which creates demand. And they're flooding in. They see everybody else is here. They want that house. And then they got to rush home and make the offer and have it in. So you have a pile of multiple offers to present on Monday to the seller. Correct. Which means you can negotiate out contingencies. You can negotiate out paying closing costs. You can negotiate out doing repairs in advance, doing only agreeing to do major foundational type repairs. There are so many. We've even negotiated the lender at times if we don't have a cash offer. So there's so many things that we can do to do that, and then the percentage they're going to get over what they listed at, we're seeing 5, 10, 15% over. It's crazy. And the one thing I wanted to mention, have you ever, if you're a woman, maybe you're a man, maybe you love pocketbooks, but I see a woman with a brand new Coach pocketbook on her arm, and I just love it, and it's really pretty. And I know for some people that's not a thing. I like nice pocketbooks. So I see a nice pocketbook, and then I see another realtor at a realtor function with the same pocketbook, right? And then all of a sudden my RAS is activated, and I see that pocketbook everywhere. And I'm like, I've got to get online and order that pocketbook. I want that pocketbook. The same thing happens when we push all those people into your house. There's all these families and all these husbands and family, whomever, whoever's in the house. There's all these people, and they're all looking at the house, and all the other people are like, you can't get this house before me. This is my house. I got to have this house. And you know what that does? It drives up demand. It drives up offer prices. Right?
Well, and the thing it does do, which I can appreciate as a listing agent presenting 14 offers to my sellers on a Monday, is that it forces them to bring their best offer,
Right.
which is not necessarily the highest.
Not
there are other
necessarily.
terms and conditions that may be more attractive to my sellers,
Mm-hmm.
but you have less to negotiate because people are bringing their best.
Right. And that back to that negotiation skill. Amy's pretty good at this. She came up with something last week, and I'm not going to give it away. But basically, if one buyer walks away, there's a large amount of due diligence that would go to the seller, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a backup offer. So that's a win-win for your seller, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about the comfort and the less stress, and which is another point down here, that you're going to have if you feel so comfortable packing up, getting the moving truck on track, filling up the moving truck, and being ready to close on the next home, knowing that even if this one doesn't work out, the other one's going to, right?
Correct. Yep.
It takes away so much stress.
Absolutely. By hiring a professional real estate agent, typically in North Carolina, you're paying for both agent fees, the sellers and the buyers. We already mentioned earlier, you're probably going to pay for the buyer anyway.
Yeah.
So why not have a little bit extra to make sure that you have a professional negotiator
Yeah.
who trains daily, weekly to have these conversations and to use these strategies to get you the most impactful offer.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, we have script practice every morning. We literally call it script practice. And you know what that is, guys? It's objection handling. And it's knowing how to, it's making us better negotiators for you. Because those buyer's agents right now in the market that we're in, solid seller's market, why would a buyer not hire a buyer's agent, which is free to them, to represent them in this market? Because otherwise it's nearly impossible to get a house. So that's what I'm saying to you, is that most buyers are represented by an agent. So that's 3% already. So point number 4, we want to also make sure that the right buyers see the property, right?
Absolutely. We kind of hit on this before, funneling the right people to the home and bringing as many potential buyers as possible to your home. But a caveat to that is bringing the buyers that are serial no flaking. The buyers that are truly and earnestly wanting to purchase a home. They are not just looky-loos that are going around and saying, well, could this one possibly make me move? No, we want the buyers that are pre-approved with a lender. We want the buyers that are serious.
Cash.
Or cash. We want the buyers that have, taken the time to save up whatever due diligence to pay for their own inspections. We want the ones that are truly earnestly interested and in love with your home.
They're going to close on your house.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying. All of that leads up to our negotiation skills for point number 4, bringing you the right buyer. When all those offers come in, she knows how to measure, is this buyer going to close? So what you'll see with our team is a lot smaller percentage of things falling apart and falling out. But if they fall out, our team is going to more than likely have gotten a backup offer on the
Relax,
property.
we got this.
Relax.
But for a for sale by owner, let's say you were handling the transaction yourself and you're confident. So, Ashley, instead of them calling me with every question they have about your home, because it may not be something that you have put on Zillow or Realtor or answered that question, what's the potential? Is that all these buyer agents that you're getting ready to pay for,
They're gonna come in and negotiate against them on everything. That seller doesn't know, that FSBO seller doesn't know to negotiate out closing costs or negotiate the lender. They don't know who the best lender is. They don't know if it says, I'm not gonna name banks, if it says X Bank, no, run the other way. There's so much you don't know, right? And there's so many potential pitfalls. How many FSBOs have we listed that have already been under contract and fallen out multiple times because people don't have a clue?
Right. And they're going to call you. These buyer agents are doing their due diligence for their buyers. They're going to call you and ask you, when was the last time the septic was inspected? The roof, has there been anything? They're going to ask you multiple questions.
How often do you service the HVAC? How
right.
do you, lots of questions.
In our initial interview with you, we gather this information in an hour or two, and then we're able to have you not answer that question multiple times to multiple buyer agents because they're calling us.
Yeah. Let's give them another great example. When we list $150,000 to $200,000 property, how many calls from agents do you get, Amy?
I get a lot.
Probably over 30 in 2 to 3 days.
And this is between Wednesday and open house.
Right, right. Are you prepared to answer that phone every time it rings? Most people after the third call are completely flustered and do not want to talk. No. And I will say that people younger than 35 don't want to answer it at all because they typically tend to communicate via text. Yeah. And that's not what's going to be happening. There are people on the phone wanting to talk to them 24/7, right?
Even scheduling the appointments, scheduling the showings.
That's why we're so thankful to have a showing company that schedules that for us because they handle a lot of that as well. So let's move on a little bit and say, number 5, agents have big networks. So it's no secret that in the world of real estate, we're hyper connected. We have a lot of realtor events, a lot of opportunities for us to get to know each other. Why would that benefit that seller?
Okay. So one thing that would benefit is, to make it to your favor, is putting it up on multiple sites. We have sites that our MLS automatically filter out to, which is the Redfin and the Zillow and the Trulia and those type of sites. We also have our own KW, Keller Williams intranet that it goes out to. We also have investors that we have in our back pockets that
18,000 person database
at the drop of the hat. Yeah. I mean, we have all these avenues in addition to what a regular.
We have all of the realtors in the MLS that we can communicate with. We have realtor private Facebook pages that you guys don't have access to that we often say, hey, this is, we can't give out the details on it, but we'll say, be watching the MLS today at 2:00. This house is going live and we know you'll want to be all about that. When we do that, it's like between 2 and 3 o'clock, we have 20 appointments set.
That's a big one.
It's a huge one.
Because on the Facebook groups, it's not only Keller Williams, it is all the other agents. And a lot of times agents have gone on there when they've ran into, they can't locate this particular house with the particular criteria
and
for
we're talking
buyers.
to each other.
And they're like, help me. Does anybody have this?
It's coming.
And we're like.
And here's another huge one. Another huge advantage of working with us. We are part of Keller Williams Elite. Keller Williams Elite is the #1 selling company in the Triad, not Winston-Salem, in the Triad. We have 250 agents in our office that we are going to advertise to within our private page as well, and they're by far outselling, outlisting and outselling on the buy side every other firm in town. So you're hiring that network of people that are going to be out there working hard for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or for us to get your home sold for the most money.
Absolutely. Not only, and the network doesn't stop there, and I know that we may not have planned to talk about this, but our networks go to our vendors. These are people that work with us repeatedly, so they give our sellers when they need painting, when they need carpet cleaning, when they need some kind of handyman work done to their home to prep it for listing, they give better prices because
and
they know we're going to give more.
A lot of times our clients get moved to the front of the line because of their relationships with us. They know that we are going to send them repeat and referral business. So our clients get concierge levels. They're priority. They get concierge level service. Same with our lenders. So many vendors and so many lenders that we work with will make you the priority as opposed to what we see over and over. I see the North Davidson County community page on Facebook, people going, help, I need a painter. I can't get anybody in my house and I'm selling my house and they're selling it by owner. Well, if they call us, we could probably have a painter in their house that week.
Oh, like within 48 hours, I can have a painter there. I promise you.
Yeah. So it's another advantage. So let's move on to the next one, and we've hit on this a lot, but so many people don't understand. Number 6, real estate is a full-time job, right?
It truly is.
Everybody on our team is full-time in real estate.
Correct.
So it's all of our agents are professionals working for you. And back to what Amy said and what we said earlier about those 30 phone calls, I bet you have a full-time job. Do you want to be a real estate agent full-time? Because that's what you're going to become with one listing. It's hugely time-consuming, right?
Yeah, and let's take, for instance, due diligence. Due diligence has an end date, and it actually has an end time by 5 o'clock. Most jobs out there today are 9 to 5. So let's say you had a real estate agent that was just trying to break in to being a real estate agent, but they were holding on to their full-time job or even their part-time job. Unbeknownst to them, that may interfere with your negotiations. There are timelines throughout the transaction that you simply have to stop and get this taken care of now.
Yeah. You want us to be your full-time real estate agent. You want a full-time real estate agent, and you don't want to be a real estate agent. All those things.
All those things.
Because things like due diligence, many of you are sitting there probably going, what is due diligence? Well, that's another podcast, and we can take all day to explain it. But if you don't understand it, and you don't know the importance of the amounts of money you need to get in that transaction up front, you know the dates that those are up, you know when you need to negotiate, all of those things around that. Again, if you're letting that fall through the cracks and not looking at that as a huge tool to get your home sold for, again, a big impact, and especially protecting yourself if they walk away, again, you need a professional to walk you through that.
I've had many sellers that I may be working with a buyer's agent that may have a job and be doing this part-time, or they may be newer to the real estate career. And I love giving them advice when it's over, constructive advice on how they can improve. However, during that transaction, and when my seller says, well, they haven't asked for due diligence repairs, and it's 3 o'clock on the day that due diligence ends, and I'm like, and we're going to not ask them to ask that.
Yeah, because when the date's gone, it's gone. The money belongs to, now the earnest money belongs to the seller if they walk away.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do their job for them. We're
That's
here
part
to
of
help
our
you.
negotiation
That's right, to
skills.
negotiate. That's right. Our listing specialists, they have one job. They list, they market, they close your home. They make it a simple, stress-free experience. We're also confident that while we're doing this, we're building lasting relationships with you. You are not one client to us.
No.
We know that in your lifetime, you may buy and sell 5 or 7 homes. Your family members each are going to buy and sell 5 or 7 homes. We want to be your go-to realtors for life. We want to build that relationship with you so that we are the person you recommend, you think of when it's time to move for anybody. And we are going to make that experience that good for you. That's our guarantee. And if it's not, you need to call me immediately because I will make that happen. Let's hit that last number 7 because
Number 7.
the 7 is whew.
That's a big one.
Real estate agents help you avoid emotional sales. You remember what I said earlier? Your home is where you created all your memories, right? You're very emotional around that property. It's really easy. This is even when you've hired us, right? You've hired us and someone makes an offer on your house, right? We present the offer. Your house is listed at $400,000. They offer $350,000. You immediately jump to, I am so insulted. How dare they? I can't. We're going to walk you through that, and we're going to take the emotion out of it, okay? We are experts at helping you understand that the sale of your home is a business transaction. Although you are emotionally attached to it, we are going to help it. We are going to walk you through it with much less stress by helping you manage those emotions throughout the process.
So, for instance, one of my recent sales had 14 offers. At Ashley Lay, we put them in a spreadsheet with a net profit at the end, and we highlight the due diligence amount and all these terms that could impact your transaction and how smoothly it goes. So by putting them all side by side, no names, no nothing, just the facts and the figures of the transaction, it allows the sellers to take that emotion out of it.
Right.
If the buyer sends you a love letter saying, "We love your home, please choose us," I'm not going to present it to you because this is not an emotional sale. This is, and going back,
we're protecting you
to number one, where it says legal stuff. It is highly unlikely that love letter does not, what is the word I'm looking for? Go against fair housing. It doesn't contain some kind of fair housing that if you made that decision based on that letter, you would be in violation.
Yes.
So
it's our job to protect you.
It's our job to protect you. So not only that, you're going through a life event. Somebody's been born.
Exactly. Back to the emotions. Often, do you know why people sell houses the most often? It's a life event, right? They've gotten married, so they buy a house. They're getting divorced, so they sell a house. They've had more children, so they sell and buy. More space. They need more space. Someone has died in the home, and the family has to sell it. There's been a yes, all your children have moved out. It's time to downsize. You have gotten a new job somewhere and you're not happy about it, and you lived in Davidson County your entire life and you've got to move to Chicago. You're not happy. You're stressed out. And you've got 3 children in middle school and high school, and this is not an easy transition. Guess what? We've likely had that same scenario multiple times. We've got multiple resources to help you. I was literally texting probably 20 times with a previous client this weekend. Haven't even told Amy this, that we're going to be selling her home. She and her husband are, their children are gone. They're downsizing. And they're driving to Hickory all the time, to work. And they're very, very close to retirement. So we worked out a plan where we're going to help her, give her all the resources, give her names of companies. Like, we have dumpster companies. They'll drop them at your door, at your window, do like I did. You open the window, you throw the stuff in the dumpster, right?
Get rid of it.
Helping her through that process, helping her find the best place to maybe get an apartment in Hickory because they only have a couple of years to retire where they want to retire, and then help with that whole process. That's how we can be your right hand and your left hand, because moving is an emotional experience. It really, and can be stressful. Super stressful.
Do you really want to be wrapped up in your full-time job, in your life event, and be handling all these extras? And
things happen, Amy, right? So it's 3 days before. The loan is not working out the way it needs to on the buy side. Who is on the phone daily, multiple times a day for them, calling the lender for the buyer and ensuring that things are happening that need to happen, or making alternative plans not to pack the moving truck the next day because that's not going to work out. Right. You don't have that person if you're doing it yourself, right?
Right. Absolutely.
There's nothing more stressful, nothing, for us as agents, to have clients that have packed a moving truck and are ready to close on both properties, the sale of their home and the purchase of the new one, and ready to move that truck over to the next house, and to find out that it's not going to close. We don't ever want that to happen, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't want it to happen, but we are representing you. We're your fiduciary, and we do have your back.
Well, you are a trusted full-time professional, right?
Correct.
Third party that understands that you can set those emotions aside to make sure they have the best experience possible in getting this home sold.
Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So guys,
that was 7.
Heard 7 reasons why you should hire a real estate agent. After listening to this, can you honestly tell me you shouldn't hire us? Because why my biggest one is, why would they leave that amount of percentage over on the table that they could cover everything else? Even if they break even, why would you take on all the stress if we can get you through that and professionally negotiate for you and handle it and take all the stress out of it, right?
Absolutely. I've had 2 listings recently that they purchased last year and it just wasn't the right listing for them. And they said, my biggest fear is having to bring money to the table, and I've got them.
Yeah, we've got that handled. We've got that on lock. So you know who to call. You can contact us at info@ashleylay.com or 336-816-7818 and
Or 336-225-1115.
we're here for you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Ashley Lay Real Estate Podcast. If our topic today made you think twice about selling your house on your own, give us a call at 336-893-4400. We'd love to have Amy sit down with you for a no-obligation conversation about how we can best serve you and sell your home for top value.